Ceylon cinnamon is known as true cinnamon. It is a evergreen perennial crop, belongs to the family Lauraceae. It originated here. It is an indigenous crop to Sri Lanka, which has been cultivated for hundreds of years, and the knowledge has been transferred from generation to generation. Which was originated in the central hills, especially in the Kandy Matali region. Later it shifted to the southern region. This is one example. You are now sitting on the southern coastal region in Sri Lanka, where the crop has been shifted to here. Apart from the other cinnamon types available in the world, Ceylon cinnamon, the true cinnamon, is renowned for its delicate flavor, aroma, and it's highly valued in the global market. In the wild, in the natural conditions, this tree can grow up to 20 to 30 meters, but for the easiness of maintaining, we maintain it up to 2.5 to 3 meters. And it's an important export-oriented crop when it comes to our economy. It has been identified as the fourth plantation crop, apart from the tea, rubber, coconut. Not only that, this sector supporting numerous of small-scale farmers who are living in the rural areas. More than 80% of the stakeholders who are engaging in cinnamon sector are small-scale farmers. The cinnamon types, there are 4 types of cinnamon available in the world. The true cinnamon, which is coming from Sri Lanka. Then you have the cassia cinnamon, which is coming from China, the most common type. Then you have the Saigon cinnamon, the most spiciest type, which is coming from Vietnam. Then you have the Korenji cinnamon, the most cheapest type, which is coming from Indonesia. All these 3 types, we commonly call them as cassia. So now then we'll compare cassia with Ceylon cinnamon. Ceylon cinnamon is having a mild, sweet, delicate flavor, while the cassia is having a stronger, spicier, and a bitter aftertaste. The true cinnamon is having a light and floral aroma, while the cassia is having a robust and harsher aroma. The appearance you can quickly identify by looking at this. Ceylon cinnamon is lighter in color. It comes with layers. It's soft, easily breakable. But cassia is darker in color. It's thicker and harder. The coumarin is a naturally occurring compound which is available in cinnamon, which can be harmful to your liver and kidneys if you consume in larger amounts. The coumarin content in the true cinnamon, which is undetectable, untraceable level, but for cassia, it's comparatively higher. 90% of the world true cinnamon requirement is supplied from Sri Lanka, so it's less widely available. And with that, the price is comparatively expensive. Ceylon cinnamon is not only a spice, it's a healer. Actually, it has a lot of health benefits. It's rich in antioxidant, it will regulate your blood sugar, it has anti-inflammatory properties, antimicrobial, antifungal properties, it helps to manage your weight, support your heart health, and also it has other uses like culinary purposes, aromatherapy, natural preservatives, used for skincare. And with Sri Lanka, it's more important, it's bound with our culture, and it has a very strong historical background. With that, I'll move to the history. The Ceylon cinnamon has been used in thousands of years ago for ancient Egyptians for mummy embalming process. It has been written in the Bible also as a prized gift. And the Arab merchants brought cinnamon to Europe when there were no refrigerators to meat preservation, as a meat preservation during the cold times. And the monopoly of the Ceylon cinnamon industry has been kept by the Sinhalese king and the Muslim traders for a very long time by keeping the source as a secret. The source is here. And then in 1500s, the Portuguese colonized Sri Lanka. Then they have started the cinnamon trade across the Europe. They harvest cinnamon from the wild and start doing the cinnamon industry. Then the Dutch era, they have started the commercial cultivation. And during the British era. They have started the large scale cultivation during the British era. There were around 40,000 acres of Ceylon cinnamon, especially in the Colombo and Negombo area. Later it shifted to the southern region. So this map shows you current cinnamon extent. 90% of the cinnamon extent in Sri Lanka is centralized to this southern part. And you are in Galle. Galle is having the around 30% of the extent is in the Galle district. In last year, the extent recorded more than 37,000 hectares. We had a mindset that Ceylon cinnamon can be grown in the wet zone, but now we have proven that it can be grown in any climatic region. It's available in the dry zone also. It's the most fast moving crop in the dry zone now, because in the dry zone we have a lot of lands, but there's an issue with the human-elephant conflict, and cinnamon has been found a good solution, because we found that elephants are not harming to cinnamon, so now they are using it as barriers also. And out of the 25 districts, now more than 19 to 20 districts, cinnamon is cultivating commercial purposes. But I can say that all over the place, cinnamon is there. These are our major export destinations. 60% of our production goes to the Latin American region, and we are now trying to expand our markets. Year by year, we are improving our export quantity and the income generation from this sector. In 1972, we started this sector as a $18 million industry, but now it has been grown up to $250 million industry, and our plan is to bring this up to $500 million by 2030, and hopefully we are trying to bring this industry up to $1 billion industry within the next decade, because it has been predicted that world cinnamon market is going to double within the next decade. So we are going to discuss the field management practices, and we are going to show the field management practices during your field demonstration also. The land preparation, we prepare lands and the spacing 4x3 spacing, and we plant not a single plant, we plant a pot which contains more than 5 plants, so it grows as a bush, not as a single tree, because we are having a harvesting round at every 6 to 8 months. So we have to harvest 1 or 2 bushes from the 2 stems from the bush. So in order to maintain a sustainable planting cycle, we have to maintain a bush. So it takes 3 years after the initial planting to get the first harvest. Once you are harvested, the new shoots will arise from the harvesting cutting edge. So it takes 1.5 years to grow up to the harvesting stage. So in a bush, you have different stages of stems, which can be readily harvested, which can be harvested within the next 6 months, which can be harvested within the next year, and the newly arise shoots. The most important agronomic practices when it comes to cinnamon is the pruning. So we are pruning out, we are thinning out the unwanted side branches and the leaves up to the half of the height of the bush, because the main purpose of this process is to get a straight single stem, because we want to get a straight single stem without any side branches. If there are side branches or the stem is not straight, it makes it difficult when it comes to peeling. So you can see the equipment that we use to do the pruning, a specific kind of knife that has been using only for cinnamon harvesting and pruning process. And you can see how he holds the knife. Usually when we are cutting something, we move our hand from upward to downward movement, where we can have more power. But if we use more power, it will damage to the stem and the bark. So we use the other way around. We cut from downward to upward where we cannot use much pressure. You can spot the difference how before pruning and how after pruning a bush looks like. After pruning, then we'll stack them together using a rope. The objective is also to get a strong straight stem. And weeding practices, we are only using manual weeding. Either we can use either slash weeding or grass cutters. We never use herbicides because it has a negative impact on shoot growth. If you apply insect herbicides on the cutting surface, the new flush won't come out. Then I'll explain the steps of cinnamon processing, and with that we are going to demonstrate the processing in here as well. The first step is harvesting. We are going to harvest the cinnamon stems early in the morning, not in the noon time, because we have to keep the stem fresh as possible. When it gets dry, it makes it difficult to peel. Because when it gets dry, the connection between the bark and the stem gets higher, so it makes difficult to peel. So once harvested, we bring them to our processing location and submerge in water to prevent it getting dry. Then the next process, as I demonstrate, the next process is removal of knots. So we are removing the knots where the side branches were. So after removing the side branches, then the next step is to removal of the outer cork layer. This is a very delicate process, and you need to practice it. You need an experience to do this process, because you need to know the exact pressure that you need to apply. Because if you apply more pressure, it will damage to the inner bark also. If you apply less pressure, the process that we want will not happen. So that comes with the experience. All these processes are manual processes. It's not possible to mechanize. So it's a highly labor intensive process. So they are using a specific kind of tool for this purpose, where we have forged it for the same, to do the same process. After removal of the outer cork layer, then the next process is rubbing. The next process is rubbing. For that we are using a brass. Traditionally we are using a brass rod like this. We are using a brass rod. Now we have mechanized it. It's also with the two brass rods. We are only using brass. We cannot use iron because it has a chemical interaction with the cinnamon. So we are only using brass traditionally. So what the rubbing process does is it breaks the bond between the stem and the bark, so it makes it easier to remove. When the process is done properly, you can see the stem, the juice comes out and the stem looks like it's getting wet. So that's how we identify that rubbing process has done properly. After rubbing, the next process is the removal of bark removal from the stem. For that purpose also we are using a specific kind of knife to remove the bark. We can either remove it as whole barks, as whole one, or either small pieces. You can either harvest it like whole one or as pieces. And after then, we are going to air dry it for 30 minutes. After air drying, this bark looks like this. It's closing its edge by itself. This one after 30 minutes. So the next step is the quill making process. That is a hallmark process for Ceylon cinnamon, because this quill can be made only from true cinnamon. It is where we are stacking cinnamon smaller pieces on top of the other and make it as a cylindrical shape quill. It is not possible to make quills from cassia. So we maintain a specific length. It's either 42 inches or 21 inches. And the quill, these are the quills, the finished quills. And you might have heard different cinnamon grades: Alba, C5 Extra Special, C5 Special, C5 and H1, H2. This grading process is basically done based on the diameter of the quill. The Alba is the thinnest one. When it comes to H1, H2, the thickness is higher. And the smaller pieces, we make it, we dry them. This is completely air drying process. We don't dry them under direct sunlight because it will evaporate the volatile compounds, and it takes around 5 to 7 days. And these featherings and quillings are used to make cinnamon powder, and also in cinnamon bark oil production we use these featherings or these quillings. So these are some of the products that we make out of the cinnamon plant. The sticks, the one we call it as cinnamon bale. That is the traditional way that we export the bale, and we cut them into different sizes based on the buyer requirement. That called as cut cinnamon. Then you have quillings, featherings, chips, cinnamon powder, crushed cinnamon, special cuts, leaf oil and bark oil. Then I'll explain the oil. Cinnamon leaf oil. During the harvesting process, we harvest the stem, and we left the leaves in the field. We left the cinnamon leaves in the field and we let it dry for 3 to 5 days in the field. After then we dispatch the leaves to the distillation unit. I think you have displayed there for the distillation unit. So these leaves are used. Leaf oil is rich in eugenol. It is the main chemical compound. So it's used for different purposes. It's used for insect repellent, household cleaner, for making hand wash, for skincare, perfumery. It's basically used with the products that you use your external body. And cinnamon bark oil, that's made out of the featherings or the offcuts, and same distillation process. And the bark oil is the main chemical component is cinnamaldehyde. The leaf oil is eugenol, the bark oil is cinnamaldehyde. It's basically used for the consumption purposes, for culinary uses and for nutraceuticals, for aromatherapy, as a flavoring agents. So the chemical composition is different and the uses are also different. And also you can get oil from cinnamon roots as well as the pods. In that, things are also the major chemical composition is different. So we can extract 4 different types of oil from cinnamon, and either out of those 4 different types, the chemical composition is the main chemical composition is totally different. And these sticks, after we remove the bark, these can be used either to make firewood So biochar, which can be used as organic fertilizer. And the scrapings, we are exporting them also as used as post beddings in hostels. And now we are exporting everything from this plant. We are exporting cinnamon leaves, now dried leaves, basically for the Arab and the Pakistan region. We are using it as an alternative for bay leaves, especially for making biryani. And the flower buds, now we are exporting. It's similar, like the shape looks like clove, and it's also used the same purpose like clove. So everything of this product plant can be used.